My name is Morten Albek. I'm a professional photographer and I teach street photography around the world. My talk will be about how to approach people in the street. This is a question I got from one of my followers here on YouTube and on my website. Speaking of which, the website, you can sign up for the newsletter and follow the website and news about photography and my workshops. I travel around the world teaching photography, and I am a Leica M photographer, but I welcome any kind of brand in my workshop, so no one are excluded. Everything is welcome. If you sign up for the newsletter, you will have some free presets that you can download and adapt to your own camera and settings. They are prepared for any camera, digital camera, and then you can adapt the last things in your own settings for Lightroom and Capture One. If you also follow my work on Instagram, you will notice that I recently joined the Leica Nordic Academy in Copenhagen, and I have a workshop here in spring, a one-day workshop for you, and then there are all my own workshops, 2- and 3-day workshops around Europe. Without further delay, it is about street photography and how you, when you have a camera in your hand, can approach people and take pictures of them, noticed or unnoticed. And the thing is, you can do that if you do it the right way. I have some tips and tricks for that, but I cannot tell that in a video because I have to show it in real life. So I urge you to sign up for a workshop, and this is not just a selling point of mine. I really have to say you have to be there to understand how it works. But I will go through some of the basics here, and the rest you have to experience yourself if you join me on a workshop. As you know, people are running around with their smartphones, which I would recommend you not to do, because that's just a side story. Smartphones are not for photography. They are for snapshots. Unless you're really clever and can do something interesting with them. But they have so many limitations that makes that little damn thing not worth using, because you will not concentrate on photography with this one. You'll only concentrate on snapping some kind of picture, but it will not have the same value as if you grab a camera. That tactile feeling, bringing a camera around, that was a side note, I'm sorry, but it just came to me. You can approach people and you can ask them for allowance to be photographed by you. Then you can exchange your, now we're talking about the smartphone, you can exchange if you have an Instagram profile, for example. Then you can show your work there to people so they can see that you actually are a photographer and meaning this series. Then you can exchange an email address and send the pictures as a thank you for them participating in your interest for taking pictures of them. So that's a way to do it. Give people something from willingly taking part of your photography journey. And also tell them what it's for, so they don't feel that they are abused or used for something they don't want. And this is not just about being close up and see people in their faces and see their expression. Is as much as a more like a architecture environment where you use buildings and light to bring that forward, that feeling, that the mood of that scenery. So the scenery can be very narrow and very limited, and it can be very wide and expand into something that is complex. All of that is street photography. There are so many genres in this, but they are floating in and out of each other. So it's not like I will put up a strict, like you're either doing this or that, as long as you respect people. And how do you then approach people in the street? Well, for me, it's very much about giving them a smile. As simple as that. Not being a danger. When I go with my camera and I look at people, I nod, I notice they are there. I might show them clearly that I'm now taking a picture of them. And if they accept, not by word and not by writing, but simply accepting that I'm doing that. And you can feel that when you have an approach with people, when you have that connection, you know if it's all right or not. If people wave that they don't want it, I don't use it. And if I already press the shutter, I delete the picture when I come home. I never delete a picture in camera when I'm out there, because you could accidentally delete something you shouldn't. But I can promise you, I can remember the people who doesn't want that picture out, and I can see it on the picture if they didn't want it. So I exclude that picture, I put it in the bin, and it's away, so I don't risk to annoy them by putting them up on social media, on my website, print something, put it on the wall, and they will see it. And even if they won't, and I know that it's just me maybe, even if they won't see it, I will not feel it in my heart that it is right to put it up on the wall if I know they didn't want that picture. And there, again, there can be some exceptions where the situation is so wild or crazy or whatever it is that you can do it and overrule that rule, so to speak, and do it anyway, but that's a matter of judgment in the end. How do you then approach this? And again, you have to go with me on a workshop to really understand it, but I can give you a little guideline here. If you don't feel comfortable about approaching people with your camera in your hand, then you can start on a distance. Start with bigger shots of things, then train yourself, because this is a training of the spirit. It's a training of your mind as much as it is a training of doing photography. It is about training your own mindset and feel comfortable about doing this. And I can say to you, this didn't came to me all in one go. In my long life career as a photographer, both as a street photographer and as a photojournalist and video journalist, it took me a long time in the start to actually feel all right doing this. When I have my work clothes on, so to speak, when I have my camera in a work situation for the television station I work for, even if it is video or still photography, it doesn't matter, then I kind of have the acceptance, and here I'm talking about myself, but also the people I approach. This is something I do because this is my job. This makes it much easier to do. As soon as I grab the camera for my own pleasure, walk the streets and begin to take pictures for my own sake, doesn't matter if it is for a piece for an exhibition or it is just because I like to do it, which I do, then it's a different matter. Then you have to overcome some different things. Then you have to accept that you're doing this, and you have to train your mindset to allow yourself to do this. And this takes a little time. So start at a distance. Then when you feel all right with that, then you can move a little closer and a little closer. And I can say to you, it is different each day you do it. There's nothing that is just like the same, because your mood can be different that day. People can react different depending on where you are. If you are in Berlin, for example, there can be a different way of looking at people taking pictures in the street than there is in Copenhagen. It can be a different experience if there are a lot of tourists or you are in the local community. All of that will have influence on how people behave and react on you taking photographs, and it will, of course, influence on you depending on what kind of woman or man you are. You can, maybe, I have done that, go into an art gallery, taking a few pictures, see what happens. If nobody reacts on that, and some places they actually like that you are taking pictures because that will be an exposure for them out in the public. You have shown them interest and respect if you do it right, peacefully, calm, and without being annoying. Having a small camera will help you a lot. A big camera with a big lens will seem more obstructive, will be more unpolite, will be more pushy than if you have a small camera. It will not seem as serious, I would say, as if you come with a big equipment and a big lens. But walk in there, start having the camera around, take one or two pictures, see what happens. And if you can feel it's not all right, then you don't do it. And especially if people tell you not to do it, then you stop immediately and apologize or say it was just for my own pleasure and give them a smile. That will help a lot. And then walk off and say, okay, no pictures that place that day. And every day can be different. It can be your own mood, even if you are in a space where things are fine and you can take pictures. Maybe you're simply not in the mood. So train yourself, use your camera more often. As I said in a video not so long time ago, give yourself a 1 hour challenge where you take your camera and you take as many pictures as you can within that hour and see what you get, just to keep your mind sharp. I take my camera almost all the time because one of the things I hate is the days I should have brought my camera and I didn't, and I know I will see things that I should have photographed. So bring your camera as often as you can. Keep your mind sharp, or at least take 1 or 2 hours a week where you go out with that only goal to take as many pictures as you can within that hour. That will keep your mind sharp, and it will probably also give you the lust to do it more often. Because it is when you don't do it, you lose the tension, you lose the mindset, and you forget what you actually love to do. So bring your camera as often as you can. My way of shooting is often shooting wide open to give that separation between the item I focus on. If it is a candlelight, my cat, it is people in the street, I like that narrow depth of field because it gives a special mood and have that, I would say, Leica look often. And some will now begin to write immediately in the comments below, that's rubbish because you can shoot 35 millimeters and f.8 and you have deep sharpness. That's also Leica. Yes, I know. I'm just talking about the way I like the look and that Leica soft look, because Leica lenses have that sharpness, even when they're wide open, that gives them some certain distance to cheaper lenses and cheaper cameras that you cannot reproduce unless you put a lot of money in a lens. And I know Leica lenses can be expensive, but you can buy cheap second-hand lenses, at least cheaper, fast lenses that are wide open, like 1.4, 2.0 or 8 will give you that narrow depth of field, especially when you shoot 50 millimeter. That will narrow a little down when you use a 28 or 35 millimeter. You will not have the same out of focus area depending on the distance to the subject, but it gives you that intensity and that mood in your pictures if you do that. So that's one technical option to photograph people in the street, to separate them from the background, unless you like to have everything sharp and use layers in your photography, then that's the way you should do it. If I approach people and I want to take a picture of them, and I'm not doing it on the run, where I just take them and they never experience I did it, or they may see it and accept it on a distance, that's one situation, or two situations actually. The third situation is when I really want to have that portrait-like picture. Then I approach people if I feel for it that day. I talk to them, I compliment their clothes, if that is what interests me, the beauty of their face. I try just to give them a good compliment and say, they are interesting, I like to take a picture of you, will you accept that? And if they will, then play around, talk with them, take the pictures and exchange them later, send them with email so they get something for the work for you, because that is a little of what they do. They are using their time so you can use your time having fun taking pictures. So give them that little gift as a thank you. This very much relies on you as a person. If you feel it is very awkward to do that, approach people, talk to them, and I know a lot of people do, especially photographers, they avoid that because photographers are kind of warriors of life. We are watching life and we like to do it on a distance. We don't want to approach life that way. We just want to observe it, take our pictures in quietness, walk off, going home and enjoy what we have done. So if you feel it awkward to approach people, then you necessarily don't have to do it. It is not very often that I approach people myself to take a portrait, but I do it in between depending on the situation and my own mindset that day. But often I prefer that Henri Cartier-Bresson style. You walk in, you sneak up on your subject. It's not a lion, it's not a safari. You find your goal, you hit the trigger, you capture your moment, you capture your animal, and you get it back and you frame it in your computer on the screen or up on the wall. And all that satisfaction of doing that is a great achievement, I think, for yourself to do. And at the same time, like Vivian Maier did, an old photographer from the US, if you follow her, on Instagram, find her, search for her, Google her. She took a lot of pictures that were not public for many years, but she did that because she liked to observe people. She liked to frame that situation of life, which ended up with a series of unforgettable pictures that are truly beautiful. And a lot of photographers have done that after her and at the same time as her, but her pictures was some kind of special. And at the same time, that story that she used her money from her work as a nanny to buy film and capture people and then save them for later without showing them is a tremendous, fantastic, amazing story that you don't hear that often. It's kind of finding gold in the closet. And that story also kind of elevates her pictures to something else that it would usually be if, like today, we post everything online immediately to show what we have done. That's a different story. As good as anything, but there is something about that story, those pictures hidden away for many years. But go out there, sneak in on your subject, take the pictures you like to do, evaluate them, as I have done the last year. I have on my website, you can go in and visit that. I have posted a week ago, I posted my 10 favorites, moments from the year in color photos. Today, I have posted, when this video is up, I posted 10 of my favorites, black and white, and I shoot both color and black and white with my Leica M9 here. Sometimes I go totally monochrome for a period because I love monochrome pictures. And then I select some of these pictures to be my favorites for that season. It might not be the same that you would have chosen if you looked at all my portfolio, but these are the ones that was closest to my heart for different reasons. Capturing a moment is really about a moment. It can be the way people looked at you in that split second. It can be the way they looked away. It can be that smile that just happened in front of you, which might just be 1 second and then it's over. But when that is framed, when that is captured and it stays as a picture, it stays forever and it will tell a story that will be different just 2 seconds later. And that's the beauty of photography, that what we capture in the moment stays at that moment and it means something different from each of us. So when you want to approach people, you should do that with the respect of knowing that that moment will be different for them as it is for you, because what you watch is not necessarily the same that they experience. And that's the fantastic and amazing thing about photography, how a photo can change the mood and what we see in that scenery completely. And when people walk by, if I put that up on a wall in the city, everybody would react differently to that story that I'm showing. And just to finish this little episode off and that's the truth about photography, as it is with any art, craft, or whatever you do, the more you do it, the easier it will be, the better you will be. So go out, use your camera, and learn yourself how to approach people, because there's no quick recipe. I can show you a lot of ways on approaching people on a workshop, which I can't tell you here because you have to be there and see me doing that, so you can mirror yourself on that, and then you will learn about it. I hope this little session gave you some ideas to go a little closer with your camera, capturing those moments with strangers that gives us so much pleasure to look at and learn from. Because when we see sceneries from real life, this is a mirror of our own life, and we can reflect on how we live our lives, which I think is very valuable and one of the big benefits of doing street photography. Thank you for watching.